Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a couple different things. We're going to start by looking at Ben Armstrong's tweet right here when it comes to hashtag ETHGATE and the XRP Army and his opinion on kind of what's going on. We're going to be taking a look at some CoinDesk news that was coming down with the crackdown with Voyager. Obviously, we've been talking about Chairman Gensler and the SEC going after these platforms, lending platforms that are offering interest-bearing accounts. Axie Infinity had a major exploitation with 625 million being stolen. Got a Visa update and some more updates from Do Kwon. And obviously, we've seen a massive pump when it comes to Bitcoin. If we come in here, we're currently at 46,900. Well, now we're back to 47,000. But we've seen Bitcoin over the past 7 days. If we look at it here, we finally broke the 45 resistant level and shot up to almost 48,000. And a lot of it stemmed from what Do Kwon is doing with Terra and his purchasing of Bitcoin, using Bitcoin to back their UST stablecoin, and he's going to be purchasing up to, I think it's up to 10 billion over time of Bitcoin, which is massive, and it brought a lot of positivity within the space. As you can see, if we come over here to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, we're in the 55 range, and we were just not too long ago in the extreme fear range just last month. And look at last week, we were in the fear range. Now we're in the greed range. So obviously we're doing a little bit of cooling off as we speak right now. So you can kind of tell Bitcoin's kind of cooling off a little bit. But just looking at the entire market on CoinGecko here, there was a lot of positivity within the last 7 days. I mean, look at this. You have Solana up 32%, 22%, Cardano. There's a lot of gainers here. There's a lot of positivities. I wanted to touch on Ben Armstrong's or BitBoy Crypto's tweet right here because he claims to be the leader of the XRP army, and he kind of gave his opinion on this whole movement of this ETHGATE 2022, kind of how the XRP community has been uncovering the scandal that's been going on with the Ethereum Free Pass, and he has this certain position, which I agree with a lot of what he says in here, but then he takes certain positions of kind of making the community seem as conspiracy theorists when it comes to certain things, when we have video documents and audio proof of them in their own words and a lot of their actions. And it's just us kind of piecing together, connecting the dots with the information that's literally brought out to the community by these parties and these members involved in this entire scandal. So let's go ahead and cover this. So according to Ben Armstrong, says the hashtag XRP Army has been asking me to make some statements on ETHGATE. So here's a thread. Some of it you may agree with it, some you may not, but these are my thoughts. If you need to catch up with the scandal conspiracy theory, here's a link. So he kind of puts up a link to an article. But what you can do is, if you haven't really been following the Ripple versus SC case or following with, what the community has been putting together with the Ethereum Free Pass timeline and ETHGATE, make sure you go to like Johnny Deaton's Digital Asset Investors or Tags XRPs, or you can go to the Crypto's Key Twitter channel, and kind of just go through all the documents and media files that I put on there, because a lot of it is referencing from what the so-called Twitter sleuths or investigators like Tag XRP and Digital Asset Investor has been surfacing from what we've been finding. But continuing on here, it says nothing about these allegations have been proven. It's a conspiracy theory that a small pool of early Ethereum insiders paid off SEC officials to look the other way. The ICO was more centralized than it appeared due to an intentionally confusing web of wallet addresses, which is, Tag XRP just recently posted, I think it's today, he reposted or retweeted an image of, these so-called whales, these hidden disguised whales wallets with, a crap ton of Ethereum in them. So you can kind of go through and kind of see what's going on there. So, this isn't a conspiracy theory. It's literally hard proof that's been placed before, the community here, and placed before, SEC officials, congressmen and women, and really no one's really talking about it outside of, us in the community. So he continues, according to the theory, only a few people actually invested in Ethereum, and the foundation manipulated the public to believe that individuals were buying the ICO, but actually founders of Ethereum, so Vitalik, Charles, Gavin, Joseph, and others controlled supply, which we've kind of been uncovering, especially with the JP Morgan, involvement being verified, and they've been involved from the beginning. You have Joseph Lubin and Consensus and their involvement in the power that they have over the entire, Ethereum ecosystem, and based on their position and their dominance within it. Obviously, no one knows, how much, Consensus, Ethereum Consensus hold, or how much, these major involved members hold, or these major whales hold. It's just kind of like us doing our best to kind of piece together everything. So obviously all the facts aren't going to be 100% accurate, but the facts are the facts, and they're there and they're present. All you got to do is look. He continues on here and says, I know people who invested in the ICO, a lot of people, like IRL. So the question is, if I know people who bought it, where was the cover up? The sale was very public. So at a minimum, the public had a fair shot to buy ETH ICO and participate in governance and network, etc. So that's not quite honestly, no one's saying that it wasn't public. Obviously, everyone knows that the ICO was public and people did have the chance to buy. There's people that, I know that actually got in during the ICO phase and that, purchased them. I mean, there's people that made millions of dollars off of it, but that's not the point. The point is just because it was public doesn't mean that, there was a scandal that was happening, some shady behavior that was happening. When you have Consensus, Joe Lubin from Consensus, who is the co-founder of Ethereum, speaking publicly to investors saying we can disguise you and have pseudonymous identities and create different emails and buy at different proportions to where you can disguise your purchases, that tells you something. Those are facts. Those are him in his own words. Continuing on here, it says, while I certainly love a good conspiracy, applying Occam's razor to this should leave you with the opinion that most likely the most obvious outcome is the answer. William Hinman gave Bitcoin and ETH a free pass as not securities, which provides XRP with a roadmap to win the SEC case. Here is the real conspiracy. SEC unfairly has targeted Ripple Labs. I believe this occurred when the news came out over 2019 that Brad Garlinghouse and company were selling off their XRP holdings to remain profitable as a company. This led to the drop in price and hurt the community. But that's short term. If you did not sell during that time, then it didn't even really matter. Wouldn't you want the project you are invested in to remain profitable so they can achieve everything they have promised? But the optics of this admission were very bad. We're coming back over here. It says, I believe that was the amount of the moment Jay Clayton decided to go after them. He also dumped the case at the feet of dirty Gary Gensler because he didn't know how they would win the case, so he passed it off to the next guy. Impossible task of proving an illegal token sale without notice. Ripple was unfairly targeted. Ethereum was not. This is where the anger from the XRP army comes into play and why people are so up in arms about this. You are angry and that emotion needs a target. Ethereum is not the enemy. Your anger is misplaced via a conspiracy theory without proof. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. So he says that angry emotion needs a target. Ethereum is not the enemy. So we're not making from my research and my experience and my involvement in kind of sharing and spreading the word and building awareness to what's going on. It's not about attacking Ethereum. It's in a sense, we're utilizing Ethereum as, the token itself, in the, utility, respecting what it does and what it's provided for the crypto space. We're utilizing that as a reference. It's like, okay, if Ethereum is a non-security, we're just saying XRP is the same thing. If you're going to say Ethereum is one thing, then XRP is the same thing. So that's kind of where the comparison comes from. It's not about bashing or bringing Ethereum down. Just because we bring out to light the actors that, are bringing about, these shady behaviors and these deals behind closed doors, and stifling innovation and growth with these other projects outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, that's what we're surfacing. It's not about attacking Ethereum. I love Ethereum. I invest in Ethereum. I hold Ethereum. I want it to be successful, just like a lot of the XRP community. That's not what it's about. It's about utilizing what's Ethereum status has as a reference to build the case against, and strengthen XRP's position. If Ethereum's not a security, then XRP isn't a security. It's just plain and simple. Now, all the members, whether it's, Congress members, government officials, co-founders and founders of Ethereum, or whatever the case is, whoever these parties and these members, these people in these 63 emails and everybody that's involved in this scandal, that's what we're trying to surface, the shady behavior. We're trying to level the playing field. That's what it's all about. So continuing on here, he says, and even if it were true, there's no path for SEC to bring a case against Ethereum. There isn't an American company behind it like Ripple is behind XRP. Basically, Ripple is a much easier target than Ethereum. After the botched XRP SEC case, no chance SEC goes after ETH. We don't want them to go after ETH, so that would be good. You are dreaming if you think that is true. There is much bigger glaring problem with XLM and ETH. And the co-founder of Stellar would love nothing more than to see XRP falter. Father of the Lost, Jed McCaleb, loves nothing more than watching XRP fight with ETH holders. Okay, I want to touch on this. Now, if the SEC is still going to go on and continue to push this agenda of trying to formulate a reasoning why XRP is a security and give it that ultimate status within this case, then when it comes to the shady behavior that's been happening, we want to exploit, like I talked about, these members and these parties involved in this scandal. So when it comes to us saying, hey, we want an investigation, Congress, open up an investigation when it comes to Ethereum ICO. Who are these disguised whales? It's not about attacking Ethereum. It's about finding who are the shady actors. That's what we need to find out. So when he's talking about there's no chance that SC goes after ETH, we don't want him to go after ETH. We would like an investigation to find out who these disguised whales are. We want to know, even though we know for the most part, based on the evidence we have, we want to know if Ethereum is truly decentralized, as they say, or did they create this reality that Joe Lubin has been talking about, all this time? Is it really decentralized? Is it really what it is? Is Ethereum and what Joe Lubin and the co-founders of Ethereum, is what they promised to the investors that invested in it? That's what we want to know. We want to level the playing field. Coming down here, he says he's sitting back laughing at all this while probably assisting the SEC. Weird, isn't it? This guy was responsible for the biggest hack in crypto history, co-founder Ripple, and somehow has slithered out, even getting mentioned in lawsuit. He leaves Ripple and then co-founds a competitor that makes the centralization issue, the Ripple, look extremely minuscule. Do not, quote, don't like your supply? Then let's just burn it with no input from community and change the tokenomics we promised. So he ends here saying, point is, hashtag ETHGATE is much ado about nothing. But honestly, it makes me feel like we are closer than ever to a settlement. The anger of frustration with the SEC is at an all-time high. In the next several months, when this case ends and XRP goes to the moon, no one will be talking about this. I think it's inevitable. XRP will go to the moon. I truly believe Ripple's going to win this case. I mean, the amount of evidence and strength behind Ripple's position is just staggering. And especially to see the SEC kind of backstroking and trying to, back themselves out of the corner that they're in. And then when it comes to no one will be talking about this, I highly doubt that. I think when it comes to what's being said here, especially when mainstream media really starts, picking this up and kind of getting out of their own ways. And even if we exploit, and we find out that, some of these mainstream media outlets are, a part of this whole scandal, this will be like one of those big documentary series that will, go on down in history. I mean, I highly doubt that, knowing that, crypto and digital assets is, what our future is, and it's making such an impact on the world. I wouldn't be surprised if, this stuff was in the history books. And it may not be, Ripple versus SEC in particular, but just everything that's kind of been uncovering, I think it would be talked about. This is huge. This is a huge pivotal moment within the entire space. Remember, we talk about this space being in its infancy stage. So things that happen now carry a lot of weight. So when it comes to the growth and adoption and just the massive adoption of this entire space, and it continues to go on 10, 20 years from now, this will be remembered. One of those times where, there was a big shady, scandal that was going on behind the scenes. And one of the best digital assets out there that, XRP, that, was stifled and hindered from progressing on and fighting the good fight that is trying to solve real world problems. I think it will continue to be talked about. The XRP army is too massive for it to just go away, even when this thing takes off. We may laugh about it. We may have a different tone on how we talk about it, but it will never go away. And I truly believe that. Let me know what you think about that. But coming out here, I showed this video again. This is a gentleman had posted a quick little 2-minute TikTok, kind of going over what was happening with JP Morgan's involvement, just the kind of ETHGATE scandal that we're talking about. And he kind of did a pretty good job. But I wanted to cover BitBoy Crypto's Ben Armstrong's tweet right here. Obviously, I agree with a lot of what he says. I like that he actually came out of his own ways and, became a part of the XRP army and kind of has his different viewpoint on XRP, kind of taking off his blinders, which is massive. But I think he really didn't. I don't think he did his full due diligence in regards of what we're saying as a community. I don't know what tweet threads or tweets he was looking at to permit this response. But if you go to the people that are dialed in, Tag XRP, Digital Asset Investor Johnny Deaton, and so on, and all those parties, like you can see that hey, there's a lot of evidence here. So if you don't have to necessarily take a position of, oh, this is 100%, guaranteed. But it's like, it will make you go, maybe there is truly something here, instead of, having a response of like conspiracy theory, because it's not. And I know I went rambling like crazy, so I'm gonna try to speed through the rest of this here. So TechXRP had put up a tweet here, and so Representative Warren Davidson has kind of been under fire, and he kind of exposed himself as being one of those, Bitcoin and Ethereum maxis type style, and he's not responding to any of the facts that were retweeting and sending to him. So TechXRP says, Warren, I think there's something in the room behind you. Hashtag ETHGATE. I could be wrong here, but don't problems that go unresolved just keep manifesting? What do I know, though? I'm just a pesky citizen trying to protect his money. So and he goes right here, he says, the Ethereum free pass, disguised investors, conflicts of interest, Ripple XRP sued, SEC multi-billion speech, manipulated ICO, and much more. Hashtag ETHGATE. And then there's a giant elephant behind them. Interesting. Coming over here. This is from CoinDesk. It says state regulators crack down on Voyager Digital's crypto interest offering. The coordinated legal push resembles BlockFi's legal battle, which ended in a $100 million fine and pledges to register as a security. So just like we talked about on the channel, if you've been watching it, the SEC, Chair Gensler are coming after these lending platforms and these trading platforms in general to make sure that they so-called investor protection compliant. And when it comes to, I hate that I keep doing that. When it comes to, these lending products, especially offering more than what you would get, from holding your asset or your money in the bank, of course they're coming after that. They're talking about protecting investors, but it's like we can't put our hard-earned money that we've already paid taxes on and investing the other little bit of capital that we may have into a platform like Voyager to earn, 4 to 10% or whatever the case is on the money that we've worked hard for. We can't do that, but you're protecting investors. It's crazy, but they're coming after everybody, and we've talked about it. So I'm curious to see how this unfolds here. This is massive right here. This is Axie Infinity's Ronin network suffers 625 million. It may be the largest exploit in DeFi history. So here's one of the big problems within the space. So we talk about having regulation and regulatory clarity within the space. When it comes to regulation within the space, there's a lot of positives with it. And, obviously certain people have certain opinions about it, especially if regulations aren't, fair and just, and they don't, allow, innovation and the technology to grow and flourish. That's a problem. Now, if it's done the right way with the right, actors or right government officials that truly understand the space and that are for, the community and for the digital asset and crypto space, then we can have a lot of success. So you think about it, if you have regulations, proper regulations, and these projects try to, perfect example, Axie Infinity's Ronin network or its bridge, they try to surface this project. Obviously, they're going to have to go through, certain, loops and obstacles. What I mean by that is so say, if you have regulations, right? Official regulations that govern the digital asset space. That's, fair and just for the space to be successful, just to protect everybody, right? So say, the government says, hey, if you want to have Axie Infinity, your Ronin network operational and, and compliant, you have to go through this audit program or to go through this to make sure everything's safe for everybody. A lot of this stuff can be avoided. Not saying that it's going to be 100%, but a lot of this can be protected. I mean, there's a lot of people who got hurt, by this. This is a huge number, a staggering number. And I think the founders came out saying that they're gonna, make all the investors whole, which is massive. Who knows when it's gonna happen, but just to hear that is, I'm sure, reassuring to a lot of people out there. Here goes a positive within the space from Cointelegraph. It says Visa launches immersion program to help creators build their business with NFTs. The Visa Creator Program is the latest in a string of initiatives that Visa has carried out as it targets the digital creator economy. So that's a positive. That's huge. Obviously NFTs has hit the mainstream pretty hard. It's been kind of the talk of the town within the crypto space in general. That and the metaverse. So I'm going to end on this, where we're talking about Bitcoin having a massive run. A lot of it is due to Do Kwon. It says, besides Satoshi, we will be the largest single holder of Bitcoin in the world. So this is from, Terra Luna. And I told you that we're going to be backing their UST, with Bitcoin. So they're going to be buying up to 10 billion worth of Bitcoin to back their stable coin. It says Terra smashes buys 139 million Bitcoin. Wallet reaches 31,000 BTC. The Bitcoin wallet belonging to Terra amassed a further 139 million in Bitcoin, bringing its total coverage to up to 31,000 Bitcoin, or 1.47 billion. So if say they have 2 billion already purchase of Bitcoin. I mean, they have 8 billion left. Look at the effect. I mean, look at this. Let's pull this up. Check this out. I mean, this is their purchasing. This is crazy. So, I mean, look at the effect that, that has had on the market. Let's come back over here to Bitcoin. It's had a massive effect. I mean, look at the purchasing. Chico Crypto had put up a video well ahead, kind of talking about the impact it was going to have, and it did. It smashed, completely obliterated the resistance level of 45,000, and now it's up here. And they got 8 billion, whatever plus or minus left of purchasing, and that's just Do Kwon. That doesn't include Michael Saylor and all the other, major investors of Bitcoin out there. That's huge. Coming over here, just to end on this, it says biggest disclosed Bitcoin treasuries. 1, MicroStrategy, obviously Michael Saylor, 125,000. Tesla, 43,200 BTC. Terra, 30,727. So obviously it was more than these articles were just showing. Marathon Digital, 8,133, and then Square, 8,000 pretty much. So that's massive. There's a lot of accumulation happening, and we've been talking about how the supply on exchanges are being diminished. So as that supply is being bought up on exchanges, getting stored into cold storage or hard wallets or whatever the case is, the ability to purchase more on these exchanges and these platforms are diminishing. So that's that supply is low, the demand is increased, which then is going to increase the price, which is going to be crazy. So there's a lot happening just in the Bitcoin arena, but the entire space operates based on how Bitcoin's doing. So we seeing Bitcoin go on a move like this, and it continues to be more positive. It's only going to in turn be positive for the entire space. So there's a lot getting ready to happen. With all that being said, stay strong out there, be safe.